Alright, so we have a new skill tree coming in, guys. Hopefully better than the last one. After going through all the patch notes and playing around for about 2 or 3 hours last night, I think I got something going. So I'm going to give you my first impression on a new video series that I didn't really realize I made up until now, which is just my first impression. On the other first impressions, I may have grunted, groaned, yelled, and just added more humor to it. This one is going to be more of a general overview, but I'm not going to go into full detail into everything because that would take probably about a half an hour, and that's just not my style. I'm not going to go into every single calculation in math, because I'm no mathematician, and that ain't my job. So instead, we're going to focus on 3 things. 1. The new terms. 2. Differences from the last PTS. And 3. How the f does all this work? Alright, so the new terminology for the PTS. The first one we have is SP, or skill points. This new item, or the currency, which I'm going to go ahead and call it, are the points needed to purchase the nodes in the skill tree. Now the way it's described is a little weird, because in the notes you need C-bills and experience points to purchase skill points. I don't know why they couldn't just use the C-bills in combination with experience points directly to purchase the nodes in the skill tree, but instead they went ahead with this. You need 45,000 C-bills and 800 experience points to purchase 1 skill point. GSP, or General Skill Points. These skill points are a collection from the non-consumable modules that were either purchased or acquired before December 3rd, 2016. I'm not going to get into that whole debacle of PGI not reimbursing all the C-bills because I'm just not ready for another Nerf bat battle of epic proportions right now. This GSP, these are not specific to any mech chassis. HSP, or the historical skill points. This is the amount of SP that is calculated from your current in-game skill tree. So if you went ahead and you put in like speed tweak and all the other skills for heat or the fire rate and all that, all those points you put into the current skill tree, as a sense, goes into this HSP, and these are specific to the mech chassis that you are currently trying to level up on the skill tree for that mech. XP, or just experience points. Right now in the PTS, this is going to be 0 because you haven't really played any in-game matches in the PTS, so there's no experience points in the new system. But when the new system comes out, this will just be the stock experience that you've gained from in-game matches. And experience points will now be used with C-bills to purchase SP, as explained earlier. GXP, or General Experience. Just like in-game, this is the overall GXP that we currently have in-game. Like XP, this will be used with C-bills to purchase SP. HXP. This stands for Historic XP. This is a collection of all of the experience points that have been built up in the current game that we're playing right now for a particular chassis of mech that you want to put into the skill tree. This total will again be used with C-bills to purchase SP for nodes in the skill tree. Now, all this might make absolutely no sense, but don't worry because I was the same way when I read over this too, and it won't make sense until you watch further into the video to see what SP is actually used for. What is different this time from the last PTS? Well, there's quite a lot, and I'm not going to go through every minor detail. You can go ahead and read about it on PGI's website, but I will note one of the major changes, at least two of them here, that happened in this PTS. The first major change is the layout of the weapons tree. No longer are they divided into sections, but instead are all grouped into one large tree. Instead of spreading points across multiple trees, PGI has included nodes for velocity, range, and cooldown that will cover all weapon types in that area. But you still have that lingering issue of taking certain unneeded items to reach the ones you want. The other big change is the tree itself, which brings us to our last topic. How the f does this all work? Just like the old skill tree, players are allowed to select up to 91 nodes out of the 242 available for their mech to master it. These nodes can be freely divided into whatever section the player chooses. But this time PGI has made it a little bit easier to see which nodes are equipped and which ones aren't. They've also made it easier to see which nodes are locked down and unlocked once purchased with SP. The biggest hurdle though is figuring out how to spend your new currency to make your mech chassis possible. Let's say we have all of your nodes set just the way you want them. You then need to set your SP so you can then purchase the nodes. If you are a veteran player and you've been playing for a while, you're probably going to have some GSP or HSP given to you from PGI. So, to do this, click on Add SP, then use Available Skill Points. Then select which skill points you want to use to reach 91 SP or more if you want for later on. And then once you have done this, your mech will have enough SP allocated to it to spend on the nodes you've selected. Now, keep in mind that these nodes are now unlocked for the chassis and will not be locked down again. But later on you may want to change your skill tree for a different loadout. You can do this in one of two ways. You can click on Respec Skill Tree or click on individual nodes to undo them from your current skill tree. You can then click on New Nodes that you will need to unlock with more SP with the conversion from before, or add nodes that you have already unlocked in the past if you have done that already. Keep in mind that to re-equip nodes that you have unlocked though, this will require 400 experience per node. So, to break it down, to re-equip one node is 400 XP. Let's say you respec everything and you've purchased every node with SP. 400 XP for 91 nodes is 36,400. Roughly, if you can do decent to good matches in that mech, that will be about maybe 10 to 12 matches if you're doing well. Now, let's say you are not a veteran, or this is a mech you've never purchased and never used in the current game, and you just need to start from scratch. You need to, purchase SP for everything because you have nothing allocated to it. So with that, let's say you want to do 91 nodes and you want to go ahead and just master this thing out. The C-bill cost is the 91 nodes per 45,000 C-bills to purchase one thing of SP, which is C-bills. And then you need 91 nodes per 800 XP to purchase that node. which is XP, or roughly 16 to about 20 decent to good matches. Overall, after playing with the skill tree for about 2 to 3 hours last night, I really don't have any major complaints. Yeah, I know people are gonna complain about not being reimbursed the C-bills and everything else. I'm not gonna get into that. I just want to see something better than the last skill tree that was out in the last PTS, and I think PGI did it with this one. Mostly because there's not the huge C-bill cost per respec, and it's mostly based off of experience points now. And honestly, I've seen this kind of thing in other games or other RPGs where it's all based around experience, and honestly, what game haven't you played that there isn't a grind to it? At this point, I'm just used to that for any game, be it, you know, FPS, RPG, hell, even like a racing game. You gotta grind to get certain experience points or whatever that game's point system is. There's always gonna be a grind. I know in the current skill tree system, you are gonna be charged that initial C-bill cost to purchase a node with the experience to unlock it, but at least afterwards, you're not using C-bills to respec and reskill, where the C-bills can now be used towards a mech chassis or other items that you might want. I can deal with that. I'm happy with that. I still think there are minor things that need adjusted in this here before it goes live, but I think we're taking steps in the right direction.